the weekend before rivalry weekend, Cupcake weekend. So we'll fly through some of these. Some of these I think are more intriguing than others, but for the most part, guys, you got a lot of SEC teams out there that are going to be flexing their muscles, going to be resting some guys, going to be getting ready for their big respective rivalry matchups. With that being said, we will start in Tuscaloosa. The 8th-ranked Alabama Crimson Tide taking on Chattanooga, a noon kick on SEC Network Plus and ESPN Plus. Obviously, the Crimson Tide will roll in this football game. Does Jalen Milroe continue to stay hot? I think this is a great game, guys. The offensive line, build that confidence, get Jace McClellan, that running game really going, and prepare yourself for the Iron Bowl, because certainly you're going to need that running game going up against Hugh Freeze and the Auburn Tigers. But Alabama wins and wins big in that one. Ole Miss, the 13th-ranked Rebels, taking on UL Monroe on SEC Network. This a noon kickoff as well. Ole Miss trying to bounce back from that big beatdown in Athens, Georgia. The Dawgs disposing of Lane Kiffin's team. I would expect Ole Miss to bounce back in a big way. I don't think they'll have any problems with UL Monroe. Expecting to see a big-time blowout here in Oxford. And again, it's just about getting that confidence back, guys, and bouncing back the right way and coming out excited. And, you know, sometimes teams can get dejected and kind of lose sight of what's ahead of them. And I don't think you'll see that with Ole Miss, though. I think they win. They win big, no problem. Mississippi State taking on Southern Miss. Life without Zach Arnett, a noon kick on SEC Network Plus and ESPN Plus, guys. I mean, that's the big storyline, right? Mississippi State without Zach Arnett. What is life like without him? Can this team stay together? Can they avoid somewhat of a letdown performance? Or, you know, Southern Miss is not your typical Cupcake. This is not going to be some walk in the park if Mississippi State does not show up, handle their business. Also, guys, Southern Miss, of course, right? That's an interstate rivalry, if you will, to a degree. You know Southern Miss is going to be fired up for this one. So don't be surprised if this one isn't a little closer than you'd expect. I'm still going to go with the Bulldogs here, but going to be very interesting to see how that team responds. Same can be said for Texas A&M. They take on Abilene Christian, a noon kickoff. These times, of course, guys, all Eastern. SEC Network Plus, ESPN Plus. Texas A&M, I'm not as much worried about in regards to, you know, Abilene Christian. I don't think has even remotely the talent to give them any problems, any issues. But again, life after Jimbo Fisher. What's the vibe going to be like in College Station at Kyle Field? Going to be really, really interesting to see that first game without Jimbo on the sidelines. Guys, to an SEC matchup, Georgia taking on the Tennessee Volunteers. This is a 3:30 kick on CBS. I've already locked in, guys, Dawgs minus 10.5. This reminds me a lot of the Auburn spread, where same situation. It was a 3:30 kick, CBS, on the road, and that spread did not make any sense. I know Tennessee has been a different team at Neyland. I mean, it's scary. They're kind of like South Carolina, where they're just on their home field, something clicks for them. They turn something on. But they're going to have to turn on a lot, dude, because Georgia's coming in confident. Georgia's peaking at the right time. Carson Beck's playing out of his mind. Brock Bowers is on a mission. Everything is coming together. Meanwhile, Tennessee, you get embarrassed at Missouri. I just don't know if the Vols have enough in them to make this a close game. I love Georgia winning this game by double digits, guys. I think 10.5 is stealing. If I'm wrong, I'll be the first to admit eat crow and admit it, but I think Georgia's going to run wild in this game. I think they're going to run away with this one. I think Dawgs win somewhat convincingly in this football game. They take down Tennessee. This game a couple weeks ago was really interesting, was really intriguing, but I just do not think, as good as Tennessee's front seven is, as well as they run the football, I still think Georgia, man, again, this is a team that is like a well-oiled machine, peaking at the right time. I think they keep that momentum going in Knoxville. Auburn taking on New Mexico State. This is a 4 o'clock kickoff on SEC Network. I think the Fighting Hugh Freeze is get it done, guys. I'm curious to see can Peyton Thorne, Robbie Ashford, that offensive attack, really get things rolling ahead of the Alabama game. That's what Auburn's season is kind of culminating in, right? Is like the Iron Bowl. Like, Can you win the Iron Bowl? Could you pull that upset, possibly spoil Alabama's season, what have you? So this New Mexico State game, they won't tell you this publicly, but it's about beating New Mexico State, sure, but it's also about getting ready for Bama. Like that's what this game serves as, I think, for Auburn, and I think you'll see them do that successfully and get a big win this weekend over the Lobos. Florida travels to Missouri, the 9th-ranked Tigers. How about Mizzou, man? Top 10 in the college football playoff rankings. Guys, just to give you some perspective, if this was next year, we'd be talking about Ole Miss and Mizzou potentially being in the playoff. Like, wild. Missouri, though, hosting Florida in primetime, a 7:30 kickoff on ESPN. Florida's got 2 chances left, man. They got 2 more swings at it. Mizzou and Florida State, right? Meanwhile, all of a sudden, maybe is the heat turning up on Billy Napier just a little bit more than it already is. Recruiting starting to take some hits. A couple 4-stars have flipped their commitments, right? Gators are staring at a 5-7 season. Haven't had 3 consecutive losing seasons in years. I mean, it's been a long time since Florida had 3 consecutive losing seasons. Meanwhile, Mizzou, guys, they're just a good football team, man. Bottom line, they're a good football team. They're nasty defensively. Cody Schrader's playing like a man possessed at running back. They've got Luther Burden. They got Theo Weiss Jr. Brady Cooks having the best season of his career. I got to roll with Mizzou, man. There's nothing that tells me that Florida is going to come in. And, we've been doubting Mizzou all year. Are they actually that good? Are they really them? What do you make of Missouri? I'm done doubting Mizzou. Mizzou is going to beat Florida. It would not surprise me if they won this game by double digits. But either way, Missouri gets the job done, guys. They get there. What would that be? Their 9th win on the season. They keep it rolling. Arkansas takes on FIU. This is a 7:30 kickoff on ESPNU, guys. I'm going to take the Hogs, but the way this one goes, I think, is going to tell us a lot. The way this one goes is going to tell us a lot. I think Sam Pittman at this point probably is a dead man walking. I don't see how he returns. I don't see how they don't make a move on him. If this thing's close, and especially if guys are watching Polar Express at halftime, if this one's close, even if it's a close win, guys, how much more do you need to see? Because guess what? Arkansas gets Mizzou next week. So how much more do Hog fans need to see? I think Arkansas wins. I don't know what to pick for this team, though, in regards to score. I have no idea. I have no idea when it comes to score for this one. South Carolina, Kentucky, guys, we'll talk about tomorrow. And then finally, LSU and Georgia State. The Fighting Sean Elliott's head to Baton Rouge, Death Valley, to do battle with Brian Kelly and the LSU Tigers. It's an 8 o'clock kick Eastern time on ESPN2. LSU will win the football game, but don't be surprised. Do not be surprised if and when Georgia State gives LSU some headaches, especially that defense, right? I mean, they're not confident they can stop anybody. So I think this is a high-scoring game. I think you're going to see GSU have some success on the offensive side. LSU's got too much firepower for sure, but don't doubt Sean Elliott. This is a good – listen, they've been in this spot before. Sean Elliott and company, they've done the unthinkable. They've pulled the upset. Could they do it again? We'll see, but I take the Bayou Bengals. I think they'll get the job done in Death Valley on Saturday night.